Hey guys, Mr. King here. Today we're going to talk about some of the competition that goes on in an ecosystem and some of those interactions between living organisms to compete to survive. And you can see here it says only the strong will survive. And that's true in nature. In order to survive, you need to be better than the other organisms that are similar to you. So you need to be a better hunter. You need to do a better job finding shelter. You need to do a better job surviving and not being hunted by other animals. So a variety of things come into play when we're talking about competition. So the most common interaction in any ecosystem is a feeding interaction, and it's where two organisms interact in a way where one eats another. And kind of the most common one I think of when I think about something that's not too gory to show would be frog eating a fly. So you can see that's probably not what you expected to happen, and that probably doesn't really happen too often, but when they interact, normally the frog is going to eat the fly, and that's going to be their interaction. And that happens a million times a day in different ecosystems where different organisms are interacting with each other. Organisms are going to compete for any resource that is in limited supply. For example, if you guys come into class tomorrow and instead of having chairs for 30 of you in the class, I only have chairs for 15 of you, you would compete. You'd see the first people in would take a chair and the rest of the people would have to stand. And so it's any resource that's in a limited supply or there's just not enough of it. And most of competition in nature revolves around shelter, finding a place to sleep, and also food. The greater the population size of an area, the greater the competition for resources. So if for one of your hours I had 15 chairs, about half of you would get a chair to sit in. Now if I had the whole dream team come in and there's 120 of you on the dream team and there's only 15 chairs, there's going to be a lot greater competition. If I set all of you at the back of the room and said there's 15 chairs up towards the front, whoever gets there first gets to sit in it for the rest of the hour, you guys would run and claw and kick and jump over each other and bite each other's ankles, and only the strong would survive. Okay, and that's what happens in nature. Now, not necessarily in that type of order, but if you're a better hunter than the other organisms, then you survive. So our fancy name for where one organism is eating another is called predation. And during predation, you have one organism, in this example we're going to talk about a falcon, who is doing the eating. And in predation, the one doing the eating is called the predator. And the one who is being eaten is called the prey. And so if we were talking about a falcon eating a mouse, the falcon would be the predator and the mouse would be the prey. It would be its main course. So when we talk about the relationships that are most common, the most common relationship or interaction that you have in an ecosystem is one organism eating another, but there are other relationships that happen within a community or an ecosystem as well. When the African tick bird, for example, is this bird that feeds off insects, when it eats the insects off a zebra's skin, both organisms in the relationship benefit. And it's great for the tick bird because he gets fed because he's hungry and that's the food supply for him. But it's also great for the zebra because the zebra has these little ticks on him that are biting him and drawing his blood and hurting him, and the tick bird cleans him off. So the zebra gets relief and doesn't have to be bitten by all these little ticks, and the African tick bird gets fed. So they both benefit. And where both organisms benefit in a relationship, it's called symbiosis. And I'm going to show you a clip from Finding Nemo. We watched this a little earlier when we were talking about ocean ecosystems. But it's this idea that inside this ocean, there's a symbiotic relationship between the clownfish and the sea anemone.
I'm going to school. 5 more minutes.
Not you, Dad. Me.
Now the clownfish living in here gets protection because the sea anemone will sting it. And the sea anemone gets cleaned by the fish going through it. And you're going to see Nemo's dad say, don't forget to brush your teeth.
Where's the break? You feel a break? Sometimes
That's
you can't
good for
tell
the sea
who is
anemone.
rushing to the area. Now, any rushing fluids? Are you woozy? How many stripes do I have?
Fine. 9.
Answer the stripe question.
3.
No! See, something's wrong with you. I have 1, 2, 3. That's all I have? Oh, you're okay. How's the lucky fin?
Lucky.
Let's see. Are you sure you want to go to school this year? Because there's no problem if you don't. You can wait 5 or 6 years.
Come on, Dad. It's time for school.
Forgot to brush.
Oh.
Do you want this anemone to sting you?
Well, he says that because he builds up a tolerance
You
by
missed the
interacting with the anemone. And the anemone gets clean, clownfish gets protection. If another fish were to try to swim in there, he would get stung by the sea anemone because he wouldn't have built up a tolerance like the clownfish has. So it's a relationship where both of them benefit. Okay, once again, that's called symbiosis. And that's the type of relationship you want to have with your friends. You want to have one where it's good for both you guys. Now, unfortunately, sometimes you have a relationship that's not like that. And an example of one that's not both benefiting would be a bird building a nest in a tree, and that benefits the bird, but it doesn't harm the tree. So it's good for the bird. He gets a nest, he gets a place to stay, but the tree doesn't really care less. It's not like it's got any need for that open space or the branch, or it's heavy and it can't lift it. It really doesn't affect the tree. The other type of relationship would be where one organism benefits but the other does not. And this would be if we go back to the ticks. Those insects biting the zebra's skin, those ticks, that harms the zebra. Getting bit by something hurts. But it benefits the ticks because they get the blood and they get the nutrients from the zebra's blood. So an insect biting the zebra's skin harms the zebra, but it benefits themselves. And this relationship is called parasitism, where the insect biting the zebra benefits, but the zebra gets harmed. It does not like that. That's bad for him. And if you've got a friend who comes to you every day and says, "Oh, did you get your science homework done? Can I copy the answers real quick?" They're not really your friend. That's a parasitic relationship where they're benefiting because you give them the answers, but you're not benefiting at all. You don't get anything out of that. They get all the right answers and you did all the hard work and you don't get any reward. So that would be a parasitic relationship. Listen to this little panda and strange looking fella talk
Hello,
about this.
my name is Panda and I am a mammalian host.
Hello, my name is tapeworm and I am a parasite. I use my suckers and hooks to attach to the intestinal wall of a mammalian host. I can also grow to over 5 meters in length.
I am a perfect host for an endoparasite to invade me. I can bring in food to one end and get it out through another end. I can also protect an endoparasite from the external environment and protect them from natural enemies.
That sounds like a perfect home for me to live in. I can live within the alimentary canal and rob your nutrients that you eat.
Oh no, that does not sound like something I would want in me. But I know my immune system will attack any foreign invaders.
Although as an endoparasite that is a disadvantage for me, I can evolve over time to tolerate your immune system, if I can live long enough. Then I will block your intestines and cause nutritional deficiencies. Ha ha ha.
That does not sound beneficial to me at all. It seems as though you are the only one benefiting from our interactions. That symbiotic relationship seems more like parasitism, where you are benefiting and I am being harmed, than mutualism, where we can both benefit. Can't we just get along?
No.
But maybe our interactions can evolve into commensalism or mutualism. Perhaps over time I can evolve to tolerate your presence just as you would be able to tolerate my immune system.
No. Because over time I will absorb so much of your nutrients that you would eventually die. The only way you would be able to stop me is to go to a veterinarian so they can take me out or find some type of food you can eat that will kill me. But I doubt you can do either.
Then I am doomed.
So the panda would be harmed because you've got this parasite worm living inside you, and the parasite thinks it's great because it just gets to latch onto your intestines and all the food you eat goes right to the parasite, and he can eat all that. So that's obviously where one organism benefits and the other is harmed. So what's your role? Each organism has a different role to play in an ecosystem. There's a certain job it needs to do. The role of an organism in an ecosystem is called its niche. For you guys, if you think about your home as an ecosystem, because it is, you've got living and non-living things interacting, you guys all have a role. Some of you guys have to do the dishes, some of you have to mow the lawn, some have to take out the garbage, You probably all have to keep your room clean, and it's probably not very clean, but you're supposed to. But that's your niche, that's your job, that's your role in the ecosystem. And if you don't fulfill your niche, let's say you don't take the garbage out, your house becomes a mess because the garbage piles up and it throws off your ecosystem. Now your parents are mad at you, now you're grounded. It has a bunch of effects because of that. And so if an organism does not fulfill its niche or fulfill its role in an ecosystem, that can lead to problems. So if you've got a squirrel in an ecosystem and his job is to take some of the acorns from a tree, if he doesn't do that, that tree can become overpopulated with acorns and it can be weighed down, and the tree depends on that for removal. And so if one small part of an ecosystem does not do its job, it affects the entire ecosystem. And the place that an organism lives is called its habitat. For you guys, your habitat's your house. And for a lot of different organisms, their habitat involves maybe living in a log or inside a tree, or maybe they live in a cave of some sort. Maybe they live like in a fish bed of some sort. So it's just another word for where you live. It's called your habitat. All right, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful evening tonight. Get some good questions written for me and for your classmates to discuss tomorrow. Get the quiz done, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.